Hello and welcome to Broken Chess, the show that fights the game and the engine it's played on. I am here today with Jack Beal, coming to us from the city that never apples. Jack, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay in the big city.
Fantastic. All right. We're coming at you with a new and improved look. This is chess.com, as you can probably tell. This is hopefully how we're going to be playing games going forward. Should make things easier depending on how broken we're playing, and hopefully look better for you guys watching at home. All right, so let's get into the game for today. We are combining humanity's two best and nerdiest games, chess and diplomacy. Jack, would you mind giving the audience, if they don't know, what is the board game Diplomacy?
Sure. So Diplomacy is a strategy board game. It was invented in, I think, 1954 by Alan Callhammer. And it's, I guess, the easy comparison is it's something like Risk for people who also know Risk. But there's a much greater depth of strategy to it, I think, because you can sort of freely ally and aggress with the other players as you wish. And the turn structure is such that everybody plans their turns, and then there's a phase of the turn where everybody's movements are executed simultaneously, and then conflicts are resolved according to the rules in the book.
Yeah, so unfortunately, we are still only playing with two people. Diplomacy is at its best played with seven simultaneously. I think that might be a little too broken even for us. So we're playing just me and Jack, but the way we're incorporating diplomacy in here is that both of us will move at the same time. And also, similar in diplomacy, all your units can move at the same time. So we're letting not every piece move at the same time, but we're saying two can move at the same time. So obviously first turn, that's all your pawns and your knights, and then it'll develop from there. So part of the adjudication as well in diplomacy is if two units move to the same place, they bounce off each other unless one is supported, if there's another unit kind of backing it up. Which I believe is similar to Risk as well. Well, you get a numbers advantage, and it makes it more likely to take
Yeah, and I think Risk is dice-based as well.
Yes. So the example that Jack and I were going over trying to figure this out before is, let's say he has a pawn down here, and he wants to capture my pawn at b2. I want my pawn to capture his pawn at b3. I have a knight in support here, so I would win that battle and take his pawn. If my knight were off over here somewhere else where it couldn't support, then the two pieces would just bounce off each other and nothing would happen. And then, like we said, two moves at the same time. So that could happen in that corner of the board, and then we both could be making other moves somewhere else. All right, so we both decided what moves we were going to make turn one. So not an advantage to be white versus black in this game. So Jack, let's get into it. Make our first two moves.
All right, should we just go for it? Hopefully this doesn't break badly if we're both moving around on the board at the same time. I guess let's find out.
We are about to find out. Yep. All right, interesting kind of mirroring going on. And,
are we playing that we're required to move two pieces, or is it up to two?
I don't think so. Yeah, it's up to two, I would say.
Okay.
I've got mine. You got yours, Jack?
Yeah, I'm good. Let's do it.
All right. Well, let us away. Ooh, all right. So you just moved the queen there.
And the pawn at...
Now, I hope that wasn't in response to mine.
No, it was not meant to be.
Okay. Great. All right, so that's interesting. That queen, bit of an aggressive move there, but that's what you love to see. All right, so let's make it.
It seems to not really love me trying to move these pieces at the same time as you. Let's see if I can get this.
Well.
There we go. All right, I'm just moving one piece this turn.
So. Okay. Interesting. So
So you moved that bishop back
I moved the bishop back,
and
and
castled.
I castled. Yes.
Okay, and I moved that pawn to, what is it,
Yep.
G5. So
It is indeed G5.
all right, yeah, this is funny because like where your bishop was just before at is that C4 that it was at, it
Yeah.
was actually no threat to that knight,
Right.
um, which took me a second to figure out.
So diplomacy, you can, have a unit stay and have an adjacent unit support it. Do you think that would be the type of, so hypothetically speaking, if I wanted my knight to capture your pawn at G5, would your pawn count as support there?
Yeah, I think if we're playing passive support, then yes. Unless we
Okay.
want to make it like, up to two of your piece moves can be support, and there's no passive support.
No, I think some passive support would be good. Maybe
Okay.
cutting. Yeah. All right. I think I've got my two moves, which depending on how we adjudicate this could work out quite well for me. So why don't you make your attempted moves first?
So I've got, let's see. I've got this ready, and I've got this. And that's my two.
All right. So that and that were mine.
So that was. Oh,
my pawn
I can't
captured
roll
your
back.
pawn, and my knight captured your pawn here. So you had two pawns there. I captured both of them.
Even though that pawn at E7 was supporting F6.
That's true. Yeah. So. All right. Yeah. So I suppose we should count that as a bounce back.
Yeah, and I can put that pawn back. There we go. And then I suspect.
Oh, there we go. Oh, geez.
Oh, does it not want to go?
There we go. I think because we both did it at the same time.
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah.
Somehow
yeah.
But all right.
And then your knight at G5 would
capture your pawn there.
Also bounce back. I guess now we would need. I guess now we're running into deciding like. So like if you captured both of those pieces, it would eliminate the pawn at F6. Capturing my pawn at F6 would eliminate the support at G5. But is that
right?
What order do they occur in?
So I was going on my pawn at E5 capturing yours at F6 eliminated your support, your passive support there, or at least attempting similar diplomacy, how it would disrupt that. So I think the knight stands.
Oh, okay. Okay, no, that's a good point on the disruption thing. That I think that should hold.
Okay, great.
So I think your knight, your knight stays, but your pawn bounces back.
Yes.
So this is correct.
Yes.
Okay, great.
All right.
And what the heck was my other move? Or does that count as two pieces moving?
No, that counts as one move.
That was okay because we counted that as one earlier, right?
Yeah.
And then your knight shift. What the heck was I going to do? Oh, I was going to threaten your knight with this. So.
Okay. So
that's all straight up, I think, right?
Yep. Yeah. No one tried to move to the same spot as another one.
Cool.
Okay. Ooh, interesting.
I guess we'll need to work out a way to decide, like, if I'm planning on moving into a space that I think you're exiting, how we'll arrange that. I guess maybe we should just announce it when we're about to move the pieces.
Yeah.
And then do the math.
Yeah. So like, well, there's not a good example of it at the moment, but let's say you want your bishop to move to the square that my knight's in, and my knight's also going to move. I mean, if you did that to try to capture my knight, I'd say the move just counts as a move.
Right, because your knight moves out of the space.
Right. Doing it on the assumption that I'm going to leave is interesting. I think we'll discuss that situation when it arises.
And then I guess maybe it would just turn into a capture if it's unsupported.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess it's a non-issue completely.
Okay. So the interesting thing here is my knight could, in normal chess, capture both your pawn, your bishop, and your rook, but they're both kind of passively supported. Then the rook by the king, and so it
Bishop by
can't
the
capture
rook.
either. It appears.
Right, at least by the rules we're playing by.
Yeah, fascinating.
Look this up in the diplomacy rulebook. See what happens.
That I have no idea how we would even begin to do that.
Okay,
Right.
cool. You want to move first?
Yeah, so I did one of mine. There we go.
So that knight's moving back, which is great. I'm moving this pawn up, and oh my gosh, what the heck was the other half of my move? Oh, I was going to move my bishop back into your knight.
What was your first move? Did you make it?
That pawn moved up to c5.
Oh, okay. Okay, so this, yeah, really fascinating. And I'm just realizing, oh, and never mind, I'm not going to give it away because maybe it's some strategy. Don't want to spoil what my plans are. All right, so I'll make my first one. And
all right. Is there a second one there that I'm missing?
Nope.
Okay.
I just made it now.
Okay, great. And then, so I'm going to move this pawn up, and I'm going to throw this bishop over here. That was my plan.
Okay. All right. Nothing
and I think this all there. Yeah, this all checks out so far.
More like it all chesses out so far. No, check is a chess word. I should have gone with that. Probably should have stayed with that one.
Yeah, this is interesting because, like, right now, I don't think like
it's really tough to. Go ahead.
Yeah, like you can't do anything with that bishop against my pawn, but I can't take it either. Your bishop at d3.
Yeah.
And
I can't take your queen, and you can't take my queen.
Right.
Or my queen's not in danger. Or your queen can't take any of my pieces, is what I meant to say.
Right, because you've got those.
All right, so maybe this is broken because no one can capture anyone.
Not necessarily. I think we'll get there once.
Yeah,
like, I think once we start getting into like the back end of the board, it'll become a lot easier to like zoom around and collect pieces.
Yeah,
and thin the board out.
All right, so let us begin.
All right, and pulling this queen up and rolling that knight over. And you did your queen and that rook, right?
Yes, queen up to d4, and then the rook too. So you moved your queen up one, your knight.
And yeah, I moved the knight into that
c5.
corner.
All right, so I can't capture that knight. You can't capture my queen. You still can't capture that pawn.
The one in front of your rook, yeah.
Right. Oh no, you can't capture the pawn next to the queen either.
I don't think I can capture any of your pawns right now.
No. All right. So let's say the pawn in front of the queen is supported by the rook, and the queen is supported by the knight, and vice versa.
I think I'm set with. Yeah, I'm set with my moves.
All right.
Mine involve captures if we need to work that out.
Oh. I think I see what you're doing there. I don't like it, but I can't stop it. That's how chess works.
Just like climate change.
Yeah, I'm good with mine. So I'll make my one move that I think won't affect anything at all, which is to do that.
Let's do it. Okay, yeah, that's
my knight up there.
That's definitely not involved in my. So I'm taking your bishop.
Yeah.
Which should fly because of my knight.
Yep, and I don't have anything supporting it. I wasn't. Yeah, so do that.
So that
First
works.
piece captured.
I'm
Oh,
moving
taking
my.
it with. I assumed you were doing it with your knight. Silly me.
Oh, you know what? That would have been the smart thing to do, but whatever. I'll live with
All
this.
right. And my other move.
I think that's what
that.
I think that's what I initially planned. Okay, cool. And then my other move was to stick this bishop in the back.
Okay.
Which I think should be clean, unless like we want to get into like moves that intersect but don't stop on the same square. That
No,
might be.
that is
I'm gonna
too
call
far.
that this. Yeah, this should be clean the way it is. You know, I was totally thinking of
Okay.
doing that with the knight first, and I got so caught up in remembering that the pawn was supporting it that I just moved the pawn. That was really silly of me.
Oh well.
Such is life.
Um.
Just like climate
Yes, indeed.
change.
All right. I have my two moves.
Okay, cool. I've got both.
All right.
I should have a
So why
notepad
don't?
for this.
Yeah, that if we do this one again, I think that would be a smart idea. But all right, why don't you make your first one? Think of the one
Sure.
you feel is your first one.
I'm gonna shuffle that bishop over.
Oh, this bishop. Okay.
Yeah, to a g7.
Yep. And mine was to capture this rook. Were you planning on moving that with your second move?
At h8, no.
Okay,
Does
so that
the support? So does the in
I
a
think if it's a one-on-one traditional capture, I think that's got to fly, or this game is really like broken in the sense that we can't play.
okay? So my simultaneous move of the bishop does not contribute support to the rook.
Correct. It would for next turn, but
All
for this
right. Curious. All right, I can live
yeah.
with it.
Okay.
Damn.
And then
my
your
other
second.
move, yeah, is I'm rolling this knight up.
Okay. My second is this rook over here.
Great. I'm in quite a predicament with some of these pieces.
Yeah, predicaments abound, I think.
All right, I want to figure out what the heck I'm going to do about this bishop that you're attacking. Is there nothing I can do? I don't think there's anything I can do.
We can move it.
The bishop? I guess. Yeah, I guess I'll see what happens if I shuffle that bishop out of the way. Well, since I just announced it, I'll just make that move.
Okay, and that's what I was going to do with one of mine.
Great.
So I can take
So
the
that's
empty square.
dandy. Oh, right. Okay. I forgot that would be simultaneous.
Yeah.
And then my other move was to take your rook. No. What was I going to do? Yeah, I was going to take your rook with this knight.
Okay.
Which up in A1, which.
Yep.
Does that bounce back?
No, because I don't have any support for it.
Okay. Then I guess we'll do that.
All right. And
on an unsupported defense 1-on-1, the attacker just wins outright.
I think we got to follow that rule.
All right.
And I only made one of my moves, right? I moved the rook forward. All right, so that was the other one.
Great.
And
I think I'm set.
All right, I am as well. So why don't I continue going? I'll just make my first one here. And
sorry, did I not catch that move?
Oh, it was the rook moving back from G7 to G6.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, there we go.
And I had two options, but I think I'll go with moving this pawn as my other move. It's honor system here. So
All right, and that's your you just moved to B4.
yeah, just forward 1 square.
Okay, cool. I move my rook up a space, and then I was going to try to capture your rook, which now exposes my bishop. Curses.
But again, you can move the bishop simultaneously. I mean,
This is true. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I keep forgetting about that because it will take an extra turn for you to capture.
Right. So yeah, maybe we broke this in a not good way.
I don't know. I mean, we're definitely making progress. So
2 pieces have been captured aside.
Are you up on me? No, I'm up. I
No,
think I'm
you're
up
up
on
on
you
me.
piecewise.
Yeah.
Whether that is meaningful in this rule set or not, I don't know.
Yeah, we will find out eventually. One of mine, which should be good, is to move my pawn at e5 to f6 and capture your pawn, supported by the rook and the queen. And you're supported by a
f6.
pawn.
Yeah, so that's 2 on 2.
Well, 3 on 3, really.
3 on 3, yeah. If you count the attacking.
And
yeah.
was one of your moves to move that bishop?
No, one of my moves is to move. Oh no! So it doesn't matter because one of my moves is to move that pawn up.
Oh, okay. Oh, so
Yeah,
interesting. So this wasn't illegal.
to f5.
Okay.
So I guess what happens if you're not making a legal move in chess?
I guess it bounces back. So we finally have a.
So your piece just stays where it is.
Yep.
That sounds like not the most unfair way to go about it.
Very diplomatic of you.
But pawns are the only pieces that have a move that would fail like that.
Right. Well, say Levy.
All right. En passant, something in French. And then what was my other move? My other move is I'm going to move my queen up here.
Okay. And my other move
hopefully doesn't conflict with you making a strange illegal move with your bishop or knight.
Nope. It was to capture your knight down here.
Capture my knight.
You were not planning.
In the corner.
Or up there for you. Yeah, A1.
Yeah.
So.
I neglected to foresee that. All right.
Yeah, I think I've been thinking so much about the offensive end. Like I'm focusing my eyes up here more than down there, which I think.
Same for sure. All right, let me make sure that I'm remembering both correctly. Yes, I do. All right, both of mine involve captures.
Exciting. Neither of mine do. So,
all right. So should we do mine first?
Do that first? Oh yeah, let's do that first.
Yeah, I guess let's see. So the one that I think is going to be easiest to resolve, maybe. I'm going to capture your bishop with my queen. Were you moving your bishop?
Yeah. No. So that's
that just goes through, and then I'm going to take your pawn at e5 with my bishop. Which should go through by our rules, right? You have nothing else. Oh no, sorry, no, that totally fails.
Oh, the knight's supporting it. Yeah,
you got your knight there. Okay, so that stays where it is.
Okay, so my first one was to move my queen back here, which looks terrible now that your queen is down there. And then my other one, which is interesting, was to capture your bishop, or at least to move to that square. And since it fails, your attack failed, I think, does the capture succeed?
Yeah, because the capture would succeed if I didn't move the bishop.
Okay.
So I think the capture should just succeeds.
All right.
I hope we're not developing inconsistent decisions here.
If this gets enough views, they'll get at us in the comments.
I'm starting to see why courts keep everything on paper.
Yeah, I'm good with both of mine. So I think this won't affect much of anything. Is moving my pawn up one square here to h3.
I was actually planning on moving all of my pieces to that square. So I don't know what to say,
maybe if we do risk chess later, we can have multiple pieces occupy the same square. That'll be interesting. It would not work on this at all. That is one
you might need
have to break out.
yeah, you might have to do that one with like little paper cards and like a stack of little paper cards on each square.
All right. That'll go
that one's definitely clean. And then what was your second move?
Oh, I haven't done it yet, but it was to capture your knight, or at least to move forward one more square.
Okay, I'm moving that knight, so that should all be clear.
Well,
I'm moving the knight to.
Oh yeah, so move it then, so it doesn't just.
Yeah, I'm moving to F6. F3. So you're
F6, yeah, and now you're in check.
Cool, great. And then my other move is to capture your knight.
Okay.
Which is clear.
Yep.
So now I have to get out of check.
Yes. So I know something of what one of your moves will be.
I gotta do this support arithmetic now. This is just like diplomacy.
Thank goodness there are 5 more people doing this. That would be horrendous.
So you can't. Sorry if that bump has come through. So you can't move your rook to the space of my king, can you?
Why couldn't I?
Because you can't do that.
Supporting it.
Because you can't do that in regular chess. Unless we. Because like in regular chess, you can't just capture the king, right? Because of how checkmate work, how check works.
Right. So I would say I can, like, obviously under the assumption that your king is going to be gone.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't see a reason why I couldn't in this version. I'm not going to move it to that square, I'll tell you that.
Okay.
Why don't you move your king first?
Yeah, I am moving the king. I'm going to shuffle it up here.
All right. And I was just going to move the rook 1 over so it wouldn't get yeeted by your knight.
And then my second move was to pull my rook down.
Classic.
Did you have a second?
All right, this puts us. I do have one. It's my queen over here.
Okay, and that should be safe.
Did you had a second one, right?
That was it. I moved the king and I moved the rook.
Oh, that's right. The king and the rook. All right, fantastic. So, all right, I think we're gonna have something to discuss now. But I've got both of my moves, which both involve captures.
All right, I've got one which does not, and one that does. But I don't think the second one will go contested. Are you moving your c pawn?
I am not.
Okay, so my capture is just going to go through there then.
Okay, so have at it. All right, and so my move was to move this queen forward, take a pawn, which you can't support, so that should go through fine.
Okay.
And then the other one is to capture your rook with my rook, supported by my
supported by the knight, but
yeah. So
well, does the support count if it would put the king in check? Maybe.
Can it? Yeah, that's an interesting question.
What is the nature of support?
So let's say, I think we got to say no, because if that in regular chess, I could make that move, and your king still couldn't capture the rook because it would be in check.
Right, because it would put my king in check.
Right. So yeah. I think for this specific instance, it's a no. That if the king was regularly able to capture a piece. So there was a situation earlier.
So, and we're saying support would have to be a legal move, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if that's the nature of support, then your capture of my rook should be clean.
Great. Love to hear it.
And then my other move was to shuffle my knight over to H5.
Okay.
All right. This is getting interesting quickly.
It is, yeah. I'm glad we can actually capture stuff. I'm glad that
Yeah,
is a
now
thing
that
that's happening.
once a couple of pieces got out of the way, now that the board is
Yeah.
sparse, I think we're cool.
Turns out chess is a well-designed game and hard to break. All right. So I have one that involves a capture, potentially. Are you
Okay,
moving the knight on h5?
I am not.
Okay, so then that.
But you can't take it with
It
your
doesn't
queen.
go. No, it doesn't go through. All right, so that move just bounces back
because of my bishop in the back.
Yeah. So silly me. All right.
Yeah, no, I saw that halfway through. I was like, oh, should I move my knight?
No.
All right, what were my moves? So one of mine involves a capture on your a pawn, which should be fine.
Yep. Go for it.
And then the other one involves moving this pawn. Oh, that pawn just disappeared. Hold on. That's not what I meant to do. My b pawn should move up.
Okay, great. And my other one was moving my rook over here.
Great. I think I'm just going to move one piece. Is that silly of me to do?
That is your right as an American.
All right.
Pretty sure that's in the Constitution.
All right. I guess we'll see what happens if I just. No, I'm going to do both my moves. All right, so I'm moving that pawn up.
Yep.
And then I'm moving my queen over. And I guess that means you're taking that pawn probably, right?
For sure. And you are in check.
I'm in check.
Again. And my queen is moving there. So we reach e6. And so obviously one of your pieces, or one of your moves is specific.
Okay, I've got both of my moves.
I do as well.
Cool. One of mine involves a capture, but I don't expect it to be a problem.
Yeah.
Were you going to
as well?
Were you going to capture with your d pawn?
No.
Okay, so that goes through on my end.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And then
did we
king.
Yeah, and then my king is going to be 8.
All right. And so mine was to capture your h pawn here, 6, but you can't. You don't have, whatever. And then the other one was to move my pawn up to h4.
Okay, sweet. Let's see what happens.
So I'll go. Yeah, so this shouldn't involve a capture. Is moving this pawn forward to f3.
Okay, yeah.
And then the other one, which could, and actually, why don't you make one of yours first?
All right, and I'm moving my knight over here.
Oh, that was already, okay, great. And my other was to capture your pawn here, unless you're moving it.
Which pawn is that? In
sorry,
E?
You can't see it yet.
E7.
Yeah, E7.
That should be clear with your rook.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, that's curious. Okay, so my second move was to move my king up to A7, which I guess is illegal. But does it only become illegal? Like, does this just mean I'm in check, or is that? Or
I think it bounces back. Yeah, no, it bounces back because it's an illegal move now, like the pawn moving diagonally when no one's there. Yeah.
Okay.
So your one move was your knight moving to f4, and the other one, the king bounces back.
Yeah.
Spandangular. All
Sweet.
right. So my first one, you might have anticipated, is to move my rook to e8 and put you in check again.
Yep.
And my other one is just to move this pawn forward to e6.
Cool. My moves are to move my bishop over to e2 and push my pawn up to d1.
No, you can't do the pawn because they truly happen simultaneously. So the
Have we
pawn, you can.
have we had other moves where like if you're capturing a piece and I move it out of the way, like because I know in regular diplomacy you can do those rotations.
Oh, that's a good point.
Did we have a capture earlier this game that went that way, or like a capture that became a non-capture?
We had at least one of them, yeah. But didn't we say at the beginning of the game something like, for my first two game, like your first two moves can't be moving like your pawn and then the bishop to use the diagonal space to go behind it. You said that couldn't count because they weren't both legal at the time.
Did we say that?
So
yeah, we did. Okay, we did say a move had to be legal at the time of making it.
Yeah, so the capture ones,
which is fine because you'd wind up on a legal space.
Yes. Okay. The reason the pawn and the king bounce back is because they weren't legal moves.
Okay, cool. So then I'm just stuck with this and in check.
Well, yeah.
Cool.
All right.
I mean, not cool for me, but it's just a game.
Yeah, I care substantially less about winning these ones because they are way more about experimentation than,
they're about the process.
Yeah, trust the process. Love the work.
I screwed myself up with putting my bishop on that side too. Oh well. It's trying to keep 4 moves in my head at each turn is very confounding. I'm not used to looking at a chessboard and needing that much information. I have to move my king. So I'm good on that. Yeah, I'm good on my moves.
Okay. So why don't you move your king first?
All right. So my king goes to c7. All right. And then
Oh yeah, go ahead.
And then I think uncontested is my pawn promotion from last turn.
Yeah, for sure.
Which puts you in check.
Yeah. So mine was rook
unless we're not playing with promotion.
I think we are playing with promotion.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so this is really going to be a race to the finish, I think. So I've got.
So you moved your rook and your e-pawn.
That pawn up one square, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay, I've got. Well, I have one move that I basically have to make,
and you have to move out of check, right?
Yeah, that's the move that I basically have to
make.
I mean, there's a few options, but it's that. So I think what I'm going to do, move my king out of check over here. And my other move will be promoting my pawn.
Okay, cool. My moves are to capture your pawn over here in G.
Yeah.
And then I actually hadn't thought through my second move, which I'm kind of just making up right here, is
okay.
I guess did we decide on so like if my bishop goes to f3, like if I were to do that, not that what did we decide earlier about the simultaneous support breaking? Is that
so? Yeah, your knight would have broken up the support, so I think that's fine.
So the bishop is clear.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Then I'll run with that. I'm in a lot of trouble with my king.
Yeah. I think I got my moves. It's close to checkmate.
Okay. It definitely the doom
it smells
is
like
inches away. Gosh. And we're going to come in right at feature length if the next turn is checkmate, which will be nice and easy on your viewers. What am I going to do with my moves? Crap. Okay. Yeah, I've got both my moves.
Okay.
One of which involves my king. In case
so I've got yeah, my move to move my queen up here, put you in, I think, checkmate. Uh,
I
and
think
then actually,
so.
why don't you move your king first?
Okay, my king was just going over. It wouldn't have changed the situation.
Okay, yeah. So that,
And
and then I
then
honestly hadn't thought too far about my other moves, but I'll just.
okay, my other move puts you in check. So I guess, but I
Okay,
guess
so
I'm
do
in
it.
check. I'm in checkmate for sure. There's no way out of that for
Yeah.
me. So my other move was my queen over there. So but I think it's
Okay.
over because I'm definitely in checkmate.
Yeah. So one of my queens captures you, and my king captures your queen. So I'll just. Oh well.
Does
There we
the
go.
engine not let you actually do the capture?
No, it didn't let me capture the king, but all right. So yeah,
Wow.
that's a checkmate, which really kind of snuck up on me. I think it snuck up on both of us. Um,
Yeah, no, I did
so
not. I did not see you running that. I didn't like fully realize what would happen if you ran that pawn to the end.
to be honest, I didn't either, but I was lucky to have my queen
I
where
was,
she was, and then get promoted, and here we are. All right, so we finished each episode off by rating it on a scale of 1 to 10, how broken and how fun. What are your thoughts on that?
okay, and 10 being most broken and most fun.
Correct. Yeah.
I mean, two ratings, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think it doesn't feel broken in the sense of like it becomes unplayable or like it doesn't feel like there's I don't think we found a mechanic that's like completely overpowered.
Hmm.
And it seems like everything is kind of flows fairly once you get through the first couple of turns. I don't know.
Hmm.
I guess like so like on a scale of 1 to 10 for brokenness is regular standard chess 0.
I suppose it would have to be. Yeah.
Okay, because I don't think we've improved the game of chess as far as like the game
Oh,
theory goes.
we
I don't think we've
most
made it
certainly
a more
not.
complete game by doing this. I don't know.
And
It
the two
might
moves
be
at once was a lot.
yeah, but I also think that definitely improved the flow of the game, and it made
Yeah.
some of the trickery possible, like in diplomacy,
Hmm.
which I think relies on a lot of that sort of nuanced trickery.
Hmm.
Of like shuttling something across an ocean and out of nowhere to like surprise someone with support.
Yeah.
Um, so I like that. I have a feeling there must be. It feels like there is something about it that can be exploited really badly with the right setup, but I'm not sure what it is. So like,
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards like maybe like a 3 broken.
Yeah. I think the most broke, like, I think this is definitely a version where you need like a codified rulebook and or a computer to make the determinations of what's allowed and what's
Yeah,
not for you. So I think the
yeah.
way we played it, probably like 7 or 8, because we're also a little bit playing it on the
Yeah,
fly.
the
But
forgetful
if
human version.
yeah, if we both had written everything down, or if this was set up to somehow be a diplomacy chess engine, I think uh, that would have been a much lower brokenness, like you said. As far as fun, I, this was more work than the other ones. I'll be honest.
What was has
So
any
that,
what's the highest ranking one you've played so far?
as far as fun, shapeshifter chess was really good. Where if a
Okay.
piece captures a piece, it becomes that tight. That was a or
Okay.
third century crisis, where if a piece can't capture its king, it has to, and then becomes the king. Uh, so I would call those the most fun. They were like 9 or 10. This
Okay.
would I
Okay.
put
Okay.
down at like a 2 or 3 as well. So
Oh no way.
they can't all be
Oh,
winners. Well,
I don't know.
how do you feel about it?
Well, okay. So just for some perspective on my end, what's regular like standard chess for you on the fun scale?
I would say like a 6 or 7. If I was
Okay.
better at it, it'd
Okay.
probably be higher. But I call regular chess a 7.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I feel like I would usually put regular chess at like 5 or 6, and this feels like an improvement in the fun factor for me. But also, I'm the kind of sick person who loves diplomacy. So
I also love diplomacy, but I think
Well, we can be sickos
I think there's a
together.
reason that they're not in the same game.
I feel like on a fun scale, I'm tempted to put this like a 6 or a 7 over like a
All right,
chess, like a standard chess, like 5 or 6. I
all right.
think
So we go up a point there.
I think there's some like there's elements of delight in like the weirdness of the rules,
Certainly, yeah,
where it's like, oh, like that absolutely shouldn't have happened that way, but now we're dealing with it, etc.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I don't know. I really wanna like figure out more about like how to like what like higher level game theory on this rule set looks like.
yeah.
Um,
Maybe this might be one we revisit in the future after we've had more than a few days to think of the rules
yeah,
for it.
and some practice.
Yeah, certainly.
um,
All
yeah,
right.
and I do suspect that having like a reference rule set would be vastly a vast improvement.
Yes,
Um,
most certainly.
because I think a
All
lot of
right.
the unfun came from me being like, oh, can I even really do that? I don't know if I can do that. So
Yeah. All right, but we got through it. We there was quite a bit of capturing, really, after we got past those
oh,
last or
plenty.
rather those first 6 or 7 turns. Yeah, this is an interesting one. Hope you guys enjoyed listening to it. If you're a fan of diplomacy, this hopefully was some extra fun for you. And
Yeah, play me in
Jack,
diplomacy
thanks for being
chess.
on.
Oh, of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
This was a pleasure.
great. So hopefully we have you on again sometime in the future. And thank you all for watching. Bye.